Yes, I am live. We are live. We are live. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time to jump in, but it's another Mentorship Masters Roundtable meetup. Let me adjust my hat. Make sure I look good for you guys. Hey, we're going to have a good time today. We've got I've got some great stuff to talk about. We're going to be going through, make sure I got my book handy. We're going to be going through this bad boy right here soon. I've got some announcements to get out of the way before we do that, but we're going to go through that book. And I want to show you guys a couple of things that I'm doing. By the way, I just finished a Success with Listings class that Charles Lee, one of our members, I think it's Charles Lay, actually. I think I've been mispronouncing his last name. It's spelled Lee, but it's pronounced Lay, I believe. So he put on a seminar this week, and that was great. We had about 40 some people come on out to it. We were able to share about Mentorship Masters, the Knolly team, EXP. So it was good. It was a great time. I taught for a couple hours, and then we did an hour after that. I feel like in the future, that might be a lot of actually what I do. Welcome, guys. I see y'all. Hey, Patty Lynn, what's up? I see you guys are jumping on. I just let you guys know about this Mentorship Masters call yesterday. Is it Lay? Is it Lay or Lee? I think it's Lay. Charles is like, you had it right. So it's Lee then, huh? Because my wife was pointing it out this morning. She said that, if you look on Facebook, Charles, it says pronounced Lay, L-A-Y, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Now, the power of your subconscious mind, okay? Hopefully you guys have been reading this bad boy. I know that most of you guys have read it before, but this has been our book of the month for January. And I hope that you read it. I've already finished it. I do the Audible because I love Audible, and it was really, really good on Audible. I want to show you a couple other things that I'm reading right now, because I promise you when we do these mentorship, we do these roundtables, I always want to let you guys know what I'm doing. Everything that I'm doing. I had a gal that's coming over to our group. I was talking to yesterday, and she says, "Knolly, I just want to do. I want to learn everything you know." And that's what I endeavor to teach you guys here during this time that we have together. That's why we have this private special time. It's not the kind of stuff that I can bring to YouTube. So this is the book that I've been reading by Dr. Joe Dispenza. Actually just finished this one a couple weeks ago, called Becoming Supernatural. And for those of you that, gracias. For those of you that want to really get more and more in tune with quantum physics, this is the kind of stuff that you want to start reading. Well, that's good. Nice and hot and delicious. All right, so that's Becoming Supernatural, and I've got the Audible for that one as well. I like it on Audible. But this is basically how common people are doing the uncommon. Now, what Dr. Joe does is he actually takes what we teach around quantum physics, and he straps like these nodes, if you will, to people's heads, and he actually monitors their biofeedback. Here's the heart rhythm patterns. He does scans of the brain before and after certain exercises, so that you can see these different centers of the brain that begin to light up. He's real big into the science of quantum physics. I haven't been so entrenched in the science of it. A lot of people like that because the science is very interesting to see that it really is true. Like, for example, when I teach imagination activation, that's a practice where you can actually sit and you can imagine yourself taking a listing, okay, and taking 3 listings, this week. You just imagine that. You sit there, and what Dr. Joe does is he'll take, while you're doing that, he'll have like a contraption on your head, and he's monitoring your brain waves. And, so many minutes into the practice, things start to just open up. Like it's like lights that turn on in a room. It's just absolutely amazing to see. So speaking of light, I've got another light I'm going to turn on here. Hold on a minute. Turn this one on. That's a little better. I like a lot of light when I'm teaching. So that's Dr. Joe's book. For those of you that want to kind of read ahead, there's another book. Let me grab it real quick. There's another book here that I've been recommended. It's called U Squared. See if you can see that. U Squared. And this is by Price Pritchett, PhD. And it's a really thin book. It's really, really thin. But I've got a lot of my coaches that have sworn by this book. So this is the next one on my reading list. I've got books everywhere, and I love to read. This is how I gain a lot of the knowledge, and then I put it into practice. Okay. Lucas says he's working on it. Okay. So that's good. Working on it is good. Just keep at it. So the other thing that I want to remind you guys is that Mentorship Masters as a group, don't be an only child. Let me say it again. Don't be an only child. Okay. A lot of us like to pretend that we're only childs, and let other people know about Mentorship Masters. Let them know about this, because other agents that are out there struggling, they need to have something like this that they can snap into and learn the kind of stuff that's going to make them successful. Most of the growth that we're going to be doing in the future, guys, is going to be through you. I've already got my 40 on my first line, and I'm learning, and I'm starting to realize, and my mentors are starting to tell me, Knolly, you got to grow deep. You got to grow deep. You're growing wide. That's cool. But really, what I want to do is I want to grow through you guys. We're going to have a large organization, but it's not going to be everyone under me. It's going to be everyone that we add, mostly from now on, is going to be under you. So even if our organization grows to 10,000 or 14,000 agents, they're all going to be on under you guys. So you have a great and fantastic opportunity to really grow this beyond anything that you could even, beyond belief. So take advantage of it, because this is a golden time in the history of EXP for you to get involved, bring people in, let them become part of the family, and let's get them into production as well. A couple announcements that I want to make. I'm looking away from you because I'm looking on my computer here, because I want to share with you guys, just so you can see a couple of things that are going on. Well, you can't see it, but I'm going to tell you. So we've got some new members that I know that we've already announced these new members in our mentorship, on our Mentorship Masters page, but I want to read them off to you. We got Heather Green, that's just joined us from Massachusetts. We've got Melanie Whitlock out of Georgia. We've got Rachel Stewart has joined us, and these are all people within the last 30 days from Tennessee. We've got Tanika Bearfield, and she's joined us from Maryland. We've got Tracy Jackson right here in Texas. And then we've got Kayla Runge here in Texas as well. And Kayla was brought to us by Bailey Pippinger. So thank you, Bailey, for bringing in Kayla. Welcome, Kayla, to the family. So those are our newest members. And then also I wanted to share with you guys our numbers. So last month, let me see if I have this. Last month we closed 29 deals, 29 transactions. Okay, so I want us to beat that this month. Let me make sure I'm right on that. So last month we did 29. So we closed 29 sales as a group. We closed 29 deals last month, and I know we can do better than that, guys. We can crush those numbers. So let's get into some production. If you guys are having questions around production, we're going to talk a little bit around that. And if you have any questions in general, put them into the chat box and I will get to them. Okay. So what else do I want to, there's the other thing I wanted to mention is there's three things. This is what our kind of our big theme for this year, our overarching theme. Remember, our big theme last year was do the two. Okay, and you should still be doing that. But I put out a YouTube video. It's not out yet, but I created a YouTube video, and it's actually the core content of the class that I just taught on Tuesday, and the agents went nuts. They absolutely love this material. And it boils down to the 3 secrets for you to have ultimate success. I've got it on a whiteboard. I call it the 3 secrets to your ultimate success in the real estate game. And I'm going to tell you what these 3 secrets are right now. I want you to write them down, because these are the 3 secrets that are going to carry you throughout the year. Okay. What's up? We got Lucas in the house. We got Mina in the house. Charles is in the house. What's up, y'all? Who else is in the house? Send me a shout out. Yeah. All right. Will Gilliam, boy, your group is outstanding. So we've got, so here's the 3 secrets, okay? Secret number one is to become famous. Okay. Now these are things that I teach and you guys already know them, but I'm going to keep drilling them into you because until they become part of who you are. You've got to become well known. You should not be a secret agent. People in the areas that you serve should know who you are. Number 1, become famous. Now, secret number 2 is to do the 2. Okay, do the 2. The 2 is 2 hours of lead generation every single day, Monday through Thursday from 9 to 11. If you do that, you can't but hit your goals. Okay. And I know a lot of you guys get into practice, you get out of practice, you get into practice, you get out of practice. Just make it a practice. If you really want to get into lead generation and production, if you want to be a producer, if you really want to make money in this game, you've got to get into production. And the way to do that is to do the 2 every single day. And the 3rd one is to have a mentor. Okay. So these are things that you could actually be teaching other agents in your local area. You know, I expect you guys to be doing classes. Some of you guys are ready. You get out there and do some classes, do some teaching, do some stuff on what I teach you. You're already so many chapters ahead of most of the agents in your market area that you can put together a fabulous training that's just 1 hour, maybe 2 hours. You could even play a couple of my videos. You can teach a couple of my concepts. Or just pick up this bad boy and teach a couple of pages from it, right? And get yourself out there, okay? And not only have a mentor, but become a mentor. That's what I'm trying to say. Become a master. That's what I'm really teaching you guys to do. Not just to get all the information and hoard it to yourself. I teach it's like the Jesus method. You know, Jesus, he came and he showed his disciples what to do. Then he allowed them to do it while he watched in what they were doing. And then he left. He was like, man, I'm out. And they were like, well, we ain't ready for you to leave yet. He was like, man, you guys got it. Y'all, no, we don't. We don't have it. We don't know what we're supposed to be doing. He said, look, you're good. Don't worry about it. You got this. And then he took off, right? And he left the disciples to turn the world upside down and to create a whole new way of living that they call the way. So those are the 2. Number one, become famous. Number 2, do the 2. And number 3, get a mentor and become a mentor, become a master. Okay. Those are the 3 things that you're going to be working on this year. Now, let's jump into our material, because I promised you guys that the majority of what I'm going to be teaching you this year is going to be right from this book. There's so much meat, so much. There's hardly a question that I get asked from a real estate standpoint that isn't covered here. Okay. But it's just a matter of knowing where to look. The book is so thick that it's very intimidating for a lot of people. It's 430 pages. And actually, when I first wrote the book, I thought I was done after I wrote like 80 pages. And God said, no, we ain't done yet. So then I made it like 200 pages. He said, that's not it. Then I made it like 250 pages. And eventually it was like 300 pages. He said, you're not done. And I had to keep increasing it to it until I had no more left to write. Like every single thing that I knew was on paper. Okay. And the reason why I really didn't want to write it all down at first was because I was like, man, nobody's going to pay me for my services. If I give them everything, They're not gonna hire me. Then I'll be broke. You know that, and and this is how the mind works. You know that an author makes about $1 per book that's sold. You know, it's always funny to me when people think that's the reason why I just went ahead and made it free. You know, I say y'all can keep the $1 that you're going to pay me in royalties, because that's about what an author makes, is $1 per book. And people think that authors get rich on books. Well, if you sell 1 million of them, you might make a little money there. But the reality is, it's not in the books that you become wealthy. But the book itself can help propel you in front of people. And so I just kept writing until I had nothing left to hold back. So a lot of the information's here, but a lot of it is hard to decode. And that's what I'm going to be helping you with this year. So we're going to go straight to chapter 11. Those of you that have the book, if you don't have it, remember you can get it. Go to knolly.com. There's a link where you can, we basically email you the PDF for free. And that goes for anybody that that could use this book. Make sure that you spread the word as well. You know, the more you spread the word about what we're doing, and you share some of the YouTube videos that I put out and things like that, it creates curiosity, and people are like, man, who is this dude? You're like, well, that's my mentor. That's best-selling author Knolly Williams. You know, you could be part of our group. And that's, I put this together to make attracting so easy for you guys. You know, 1,500 agents a month are joining EXP. Let me say it again. Every single month, 1,500 agents are joining EXP. Are they joining under you, or are they joining under somebody else? I think they should be joining right here at Mentorship Masters, because I don't know another group at this company that has what we have. I just don't. And if agents are joining, they're joining anyway. They don't even know about Mentorship Masters. They're joining because the company has so many great things to offer. But if they've got this too, it's so this is a real win for you guys to go out and recruit or to attract people into our group. So if I were you, I'd be sharing our YouTube videos, you know, things that I post, and say, hey, if you want more, this guy's got some phenomenal stuff that's behind the paywall. Okay, this is the kind of stuff that's not on YouTube. So chapter 11, we're going to be talking about pre-listing questionnaire and research. So number one, lead generation. Now you're starting to generate the leads. You're starting to get those people calling you about listing their home. Okay. Now, if you're not getting people calling you to list their home, then you're not doing the two. Okay. It's that simple. It's not that, you know, there's no mystery to it. There's no mystery to success. You're simply not following what I teach. That's all. Okay. So if you're like, well, man, I just don't have the business. It's not even a mystery. Okay. I'm just going to sit you down and say, are you lead generating every single day from 9 to 11? Well, case closed. Okay. Because if you are, you absolutely will have no trouble generating leads. Okay. So once you're in the habit of lead generating, and I always say, this is something I say, it's true. You know, in Proverbs, it says, let me look this verse up. It says, go to the ant, you sluggard. Because I always say that real estate agents are lazy. Okay. Not us. Those of you in our group, we're not that way. Let me see. Let me look up the scripture for you. So it's Proverbs 6:6, and it says, okay, we lost our feed, guys. Sorry about that. I don't know why this thing sometimes will lose the feed. You know, we're on a fiber connection. We've got super fast internet. But anyway, so Proverbs 6:6, it says, take a lesson from the ants, you lazy bones. Learn from their ways and become wise. The ant has no ruler or no overseer and no commander, yet it stores its provisions in summer and gathers its food in the harvest. Okay. How long will you lie there, you sluggard? When will you get up from your sleep? Okay. And what he's saying is, when are you going to get on? Mina says, I like Zoom. We might have to go to Zoom, back to Zoom, huh, Mina? Yeah, we might have to do that. Yeah, I know, this is crazy. So we're actually reading in Proverbs chapter 6, We started with verse 6, and it says, a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come to you like a thief, and scarcity will come to you like an armed man. Okay. And so that's how it is. When we know what we're supposed to be doing and we're not doing it, which it's essentially what the scripture says is, if you want to have game, go look at the ant. Even the ant, the smallest of creatures, they've got game. They know how to get out there and get theirs. They know how to get out there and get it. And so, so it's all about, see, what the ant does is the ant does the 2 every single day. Now they spend more than 2 hours. And the reason I made it 2 hours for you guys is because you can burn out from lead generating too much. Okay. You can burn out from it. Let's see. Yeah, Lucas says he got a text from Blake, a builder, inviting him to join him, but he asked him to join us instead. I love that, Lucas. That's good. That's good. All right. So let's see. Let's jump into chapter 11 here. Chapter 11, we're talking about the pre-listing questionnaire. So when it comes to listings, you're going to learn, and I'm going to keep teaching you, that the majority of what it boils down to is just psychology. Okay, it's just psychology. It's a psychological game. Okay, so a lot of this I'm going to break down the psychology of it as I'm teaching and training you. So step number one is you want to generate the seller prospect. That's step number 1. Generate the seller prospect. You already know about that. I spent 12 weeks teaching you guys how to generate listing leads. That we did. We had a 12-week course on that. All those videos are right out there in your Mentorship Masters portal. So step number 2 is you're going to have an initial phone consultation with the seller questionnaire. Now, I teach you guys to have your assistant do this. You say, well, I don't have an assistant. Well, you will. You keep following me, you're going to have an assistant. You might have 2 or 3 of them like I do. Okay, eventually. You're going to have multiple assistants helping you, because the number one thing you're going to need is leverage. You're going to need people to help you. But if you don't have an assistant, guess what? You're the assistant. So there's 6 pieces of information that you absolutely need. And what happens is, when you get a call from a seller that's ready to sell their house, a lot of you guys are just so excited that you forget all the protocol. And that's what I'm trying to get you to pull back and remember. There's a way to do this. There's a way to set yourself up in the eyes and the mind of the seller in such a way that they look at you as an authority. And that's when you get to lead the client instead of having the client lead you. See, I understand when I'm working with a client that it's a win-win. Okay. At the same time, I understand it's an absolute privilege and a gift for them to be able to work with Knolly Williams. Okay. And that's the way you have to look at it. So it's not like the client's doing me a favor by listing with me. I know they can get any of these knuckleheads out there to list their house, but they're making the right decision to list with me because they want their house sold. They want top dollar and they want a professional, and it's just like the old adage, if you think it's expensive to hire a professional, just wait till you hire an amateur. If you think my fees are high, wait till you hire an amateur and see what you get from that. You're gonna get crappy service, and you're gonna have to end up doing a lot of stuff over, doing it 2 or 3 times just to get a crappy result. When you could have hired right the first time, paid me my fee, And so that's why at the beginning of the relationship, you want to establish that authority. And that's really when it comes down to getting the 6 pieces of information is really all about, because you don't want to get into a long conversation with the person on that first call. You get your 6 pieces of information, you get off the call, okay? Because they're going to be asking you questions that you're going to look like a fool about. They're going to expect you to know things. It's like I go to neighborhoods that, there's a lot of neighborhoods in Austin, and I'll go there and people are like, well, what are the homes cost in this neighborhood? Like I'm just supposed to know. Like, I don't know, I gotta, that I have to do a little bit of research on that, and I don't pretend to know everything, And so here's what I do. I get the seller's name, the property address, the best phone number, the seller's best email address, how did the seller hear about me, and approximately how much is currently owed on the house. Okay, that's the information that you want to get on the initial call. And I've got a script here that you can go through and kind of better understand that. But what I teach you is, so when a seller calls me, typically they'll call, like say they get my assistant will get all this information, hey, Mr. Williams is real tied up right now, but he'd love to get back with you. Okay. Don't make yourself like super available. Are you busy right now? No, I don't have nothing to do. I'm wide open all day. Well, I thought you were, I thought you were in demand, So when somebody calls me, if I'm handling the call, okay, it's going to go like this. They're going to say, hey, is this Knolly Williams? Yeah, it's Knolly Williams. I'm right I'm at an appointment right now, but I saw you calling through. How can I help? Well, I'm thinking about selling my home. Oh, that's great. Well, let me step outside where I am. I'm going to get your information, and then I'm going to call you back. Would it be okay? Let me look at my schedule here. Okay. You see what I'm doing? Okay. Let me look at my schedule here. Now, I might already know what my schedule is, but I'm going to tell them I'm going to look at my schedule. And then I'm looking at my schedule, say, hey, let me look. How about 2 o'clock today? Would that work for you? Well, 2 wouldn't work for me. Well, how about 3? Okay, I'm going to call you back at 3. But before I do, let me get some key information because I definitely want to be prepared when we talk. Is that okay with you? Yeah, that's great. Okay. Your name again? Then I get their name. Okay. Now, what's the property address we're talking about? And then they give me the property address. Great. Now, is this the best number to call you back on, the one you called me on? Oh, no, a different number? Okay, what's that number? Okay, great. Now, what's the best email address for you? Because I might find some information and want to send you a couple of emails in the meantime. What's your best email address? I'm going to add it to the file. Okay, great. Now you see what I'm doing here is I'm leading the conversation. Okay. If I don't have a script like this and somebody calls me and then all of a sudden they're asking me all kinds of stuff and no. Look, they called me and you see what I did? I just took command of the conversation. They thought they were going to call me and ask me a whole bunch of questions. Well, what makes you see when sellers think that they're interviewing me for the job of selling their home when I'm really just interviewing them? Do I even want to work with you? Okay. And I don't care how much money you need or how you need to make your mortgage payment. That needs to be the attitude that you take, not as an attitude, but I'm saying it's a win-win. They're doing you a favor as much as you're doing them. Make sense? Okay. So I say, well, what's your best email? Now, by the way, Tim, how'd you hear about me? Okay. And then I shut up, let them talk. Well, I got to tell you, and then they'll tell me how they heard about me. Now, a lot of times people, agents think that I want to know how they heard about me so I can know what kind of marketing is being effective. That's good. That's true. But really knowing how they heard about me tells me, I like the way David Speedy put it. I can't remember exactly how he put it, but it shares with me the amount of commitment, the time commitment that I'm going to have to give to the deal. Write that down. When they share with me how they heard about me, it tells me about the kind of time commitment. They might say something like, oh, well, John Smith told me about you. Oh, I know John. I sold his house a couple months ago. Okay, that's done. That's probably a done deal. Okay. Or they might say something like, well, my aunt so-and-so told me about you. She said, if I'm ever going to sell my house, I need to call you. Okay, great. And I write that down. Or they might say something like, well, I saw a sign or I got one of your postcards in the mail and, I've been shopping around for an agent. I'm interviewing agents right now. Oh, okay. I see what we got there. You see what I'm saying? So how they heard about me really establishes the kind of work that I'm going to have to put in on that deal. Okay. And so it's very, very important. And then the sixth question is, so I'll say, hey, Tim, so tell me approximately how much do you owe in your house right now? Okay. And I just ask them like we're good old friends that we've been friends for a long time. A lot of agents are afraid to ask that question because it's a personal question, no doubt about it. But I take the lead and I'm taking the assumption that they've already hired me as their agent. Okay. A lot of times when I'm talking to a client, I'll use the assumptive close, the assumptive position. So I'll say something like, now not on this call right here, but as I'm meeting with them, I'll say something like, now, Tim, when we put your house on the market, what are you thinking about doing with, with this stuff over here? What you got over here? Now, Tim, let me walk through your house with you. Now, before I list your home, I recommend you go ahead and declutter this area right here. Okay. See how I'm taking the assumptive. I'm leading the client. I'm taking control. You don't let the client take control. The client has only sold a handful of homes in their life. Okay. Even me, and I move around a lot. I've owned 6 houses. Actually, I've lived in 6 addresses. I've owned 5 homes. Okay. That I've personally lived in. Okay. Now that does not qualify me as an expert just because I've sold 5 houses, or I've sold 4 of them anyway. Well, I lost 1 to foreclosure, so that didn't count, but it didn't qualify me as an expert. Okay. So even if the client has sold 2 or 3 homes, look, you're not an expert at this. Okay. I'm the expert. And so I'm going to take, you don't walk in the dentist's office or walk into the doctor's office talking about, okay, here's what we need to do, doc. I got this tooth over here and I need you to do. No, I'm the expert. I'm taking charge. I'm taking command. This is my game. Okay. And so a lot of times the client will come on, well, I'm not going to pay, what do you charge? They asking kind of crazy stuff like that, and I don't go there, so on this call, it's not to answer any questions outside of these 6. Okay. It's like, okay, you caught me at you caught me at a time when I'm right in the middle of something, or I'm about to go to an appointment, or I'm finishing up an appointment, or whatever it is. But before we hang up, I need to get 6 pieces of information. I don't tell them that, but I've got a couple questions for you. And then let's talk at 3 o'clock like we discussed. Is that okay with you? Yeah, that's okay. Great. And then I ask them for this 6 pieces of information. Okay. And I don't answer any other questions. Well, what do you charge? Oh, we'll talk about that at 3 o'clock how soon can we? Look, I tell you what, when we talk this afternoon, I'm going to answer all your questions because I'm going to carve out the time just for you. Is that okay? Yeah, that's great. Okay, great. So at 3 o'clock, boom. Okay. Now, this is not like me setting up a listing appointment. This is me setting up to talk with them on a phone call later on. Now, in the meantime, the next thing I do is I send them a follow-up email. Okay. And then I've got a script for how I craft that email. And then I input them in the database. And then I do a CMA. Okay. And I'm going to do some training with you guys all about CMAs. I don't know that I'll do that today, but I will do it because there's a lot of information that I have in here around the CMA, so that by the time that I do the phone consultation, remember, there's a preliminary call that I have with them, and then we do a phone consultation. So even if they left me a message, okay, they left me a voicemail, hey, I'm thinking about selling my home, call me back. I'm going to call them back and say, hey, I just got your message. I'm about to jump into an appointment, but I've got a couple questions for you. Can we talk today at 2? Oh, yeah, no problem. Okay, well, I just got a few questions for you. Spell your name out again. Okay, great. And the property address is, let me write that down. Okay, and what's your best phone number? Oh, okay, great. Now, what's the best email address for me to get you on? Okay, cool. I'm gonna add that to the file. In other words, they know I'm setting up a file on them. Okay, I expect that we're gonna do business. You called me. I expect we're going to do business together. Well, by the way, Tim, how'd you hear about me? Oh, okay. Oh, great. All right, man, I love that. And how much do you owe on the property right now, Tim? Just a ballpark figure. How much do you owe on the house? And that's okay. Great. Thank you, Tim. Hey, man, I appreciate you. I look forward to talking to you today at 2 o'clock. Okay, great. Now, the reason why you do it this way, guys, is because in my opinion, when I'm talking to a client and I want to establish me as the authority, there's nothing worse that I could do on an initial call is look like Boo-Boo the Fool. Boo-Boo the Fool, right? I don't want to look like him. I want to look like Mr. Knowledgeable that they expect. So I'm going to take the time between the time that I got this information and the time that I talk to them again. to do my due diligence. I'm going to do a CMA on the house. I'm going to find out everything I can on the property itself. I'm going to run the numbers. I'm going to look at as much information as I can on that property, that subdivision, that neighborhood. How fast are they selling? Everything that I can, so that when I talk to the person, even though I won't really disclose the pricing information over the phone, I do that in person. I'm going to have as much information as I can so that I can have an articulate and knowledgeable conversation with that person. Okay. You can even drop yourself on Google Earth and walk around their neighborhood, walk around their street, put it on Street View, and walk around their house and say, hey, by the way, I got a question for you. You know, when you're talking to them later, your house is the one on the cul-de-sac, right? The yellow house with the train tracks right behind it. Oh yeah, that's my house. Okay. You don't have to tell them you went on Google Earth to find that out. Just say, hey, yeah, you know, I'm familiar with that neighborhood, and I was checking it out, and it looks like your house is this one, right? Oh yeah, that's my house. Great. See, now you've established yourself. You sound knowledgeable. Now, if you were to have an initial what we call phone consultation to set the listing appointment, and they're asking you all kinds of things like, hey, how many homes have sold in my neighborhood? What's the average days of this? I mean, just whatever they ask you, you're like, well, let me get back to you. Well, hold on, let me look that up. You don't want to have that kind of conversation. Okay. Does that make sense? Hopefully that makes sense for you. A lot of you, you get so excited when you have a seller prospect that you just don't want to get them off the phone. And I don't play that game. Okay. I get their information, you know, and I'm like, hey, let me call you back. Don't sound desperate, guys. Oh, well, could you please not hang up until you promise to list with me? No, look, you caught me in the middle of something, but I tell you what, let me get some information from you and let's talk at 2 o'clock. Would that be okay? Now, right away, they're like, ooh, this guy's got, he's coming with some authority. They're feeling good about you already because they're like, oh, he's not desperate. He's not, or she's not, she doesn't, it's a good feeling that they have, like, oh, okay. So they're not just after me for my commission, because when you start to sound desperate and start to sound needy, you start to look greedy. And then they start saying things like, oh, all you in it, you just want the money. You just want my commission. Because truthfully, if that's all you're in it for, people will sense that. You can't hide it. It's oozing out of you. Okay. If you're in lack and with a poverty mindset, that kind of mindset is just going to be oozing out of you. You're going to reek of fear. Okay. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. Do you guys have any questions for me? Let me see if there's any questions here. Hopefully this has been good. I know some of y'all got bumped off. We got like half the people back. But if you have any questions for me, write them right there in the chat box and let me know. If you want me to share a little bit more, I can. I can keep sharing, or we can call it. The main thing that I want to start buttering you guys up for, and be writing down any questions you have while I'm talking and warming you up to, is what is the psychology behind being a successful lister? Okay. How are you going to act when you've got 3 people a week listing with you? Just imagine every single week you get 3 calls from sellers that want to list their home with you. They're just ready to list with you. Okay. What's that going to feel like? Okay. How's that going to feel? And just start taking on that feeling. You got 3 people it's consistent. Every single month, you got 10 people that they're like, would you please? I was on the phone one time with a lady, and I started practicing this technique where I would say, Tim, are you serious about getting your home sold? Yes, I am. Okay. This is called the 2 question close. Tim, are you real serious about getting this home sold? Yeah, I'm real serious about it. And Tim, would you like me to handle all the details for you? And I ask them like that. So typically when I sit down at a listing appointment, I take the assumptive that way. I say, now, would you like me to handle all the details for you? Okay. And they say, yeah, we would like you to handle the details. I just closed them. That's called the 2 question listing appointment. I used to do that one all the time. Now I just come in like the listing's mine. I just like, and once you start to get to a point, you'll learn to do that. And it's just you assume, I mean, it's your listing. You got the sign, you put the sign up before you walk in the house. That's gangster right there, right? So, but just imagine you got 3 people that are ready to list with you every single week, 3 fresh ones. You're doing the 2, it's rolling, it's rocking. How are you going to act? What's your demeanor going to be like? What is what's your checking account going to look like? What is your face going to look like? What's the car going to look like that you're behind the wheel of? Okay. When you sit in front of a client, what's your face going to look like? What is your demeanor? What's your posture going to be? Okay. All of that, you want to start having that right now today. Don't develop it when you have it. Have it now. Okay. Live in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. Okay. Let me say that again. You want to live in the feeling of your wish fulfilled. So whatever your goals are, whatever your wish is, whatever your dreams are, live in the feeling of that right now. And that's really, from a quantum standpoint, that's really where a lot of this stuff will start to attract to you. Marcia's asking if this is recorded. Yeah, this is recorded. I know you missed some of the good stuff, Marcia, just because we dropped. Mina's trying to get us back on Zoom. We might end up going back on Zoom. The only thing I don't like about Zoom, guys, is that with Zoom, anybody can just jump on the Zoom if they've got the link, and they might not even be at Mentorship Masters. But that might be a good thing if you guys want to invite people to the call from now and again to see what they're missing out on. That might be a good thing too. So, okay, so I think that's it, guys. We're going to wrap this one up. I don't see any other questions from you guys. So just remember, utilize the information that you learned from me today. Utilize it to, don't just listen to it, but put it deep within your psyche, deep within your conscious, and become it. Okay. Now, next week, let's talk about next week. Next week, I'm going to be in Mexico, baby. Mexico. And so pray for me, pray for my safety. I'm going to be in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and there's going to be a big summit that EXP is having, and we call it the Freedom 2020 Summit, where we're going to be learning all about attraction. Okay, that's what I'm all about. I'm about building up this thing and attracting. So that's going to be we're going to be there pretty much all of next week. And then the following week, we should be right back with another roundtable. Charles likes the idea of that for agent attraction. Lucas said he missed out on the 3 secrets, so you're gonna have to rewind the video. Look at me talking about rewind. Old school, baby. So go back to the beginning, Lucas, of this, and you'll catch the 3 secrets. That's it for now, guys. Hey, I love you, and I'm gonna see you on the next one. God bless.